and welcome to my decktech video. Today we're talking about Lord of the Nazguls. It's a 5 mana for 3 legendary flying creature Wrath Noble. It says Wraths you control have protection from your ring bearer, not from your, from ring bearers. And whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, you create a 3/3 black Wraths creature token with menace, and then if you control 9 or more Wraths you control will have base power and toughness 9/9. It does see itself, so it's gonna turn itself into a 9/9. So yeah, we are playing Professor Onyx as a Planeswalker. The 6 mana Planeswalker that enters the battlefield with 5 loyalty and says whenever you cast or copy an instant sorcery spell, each opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. And with the +1, we lose 1 life. Look at the top 3 cards of our library, put one of them into our hand and the rest into our graveyard. -3 is each opponent sacrifices a creature with the highest power among creatures they control. And -8 is each opponent may discard a card. If they don't, they lose 3 life. Repeat this process 6 times. So yeah. Then we're playing 19 creatures versus Cephalid Facetaker. It's a 3 mana 1/4 that can't be blocked, and at the beginning of our combat, it becomes a copy of any creature in the battlefield, except it's a 1/4 that can't be blocked. Then we're playing Changeling Outcast, 1 mana 1/1 Changeling, so meaning it's a Wrath, and it can't be blocked, and it cannot block. We're playing Glasspool Mimic. It's a clone effect that is a land on the backside that enters the battlefield tapped. Then we're playing Herald of Secret Streams, 4 mana, 2/3. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them can't be blocked. This is really good because we're playing the 9 Nazguls. They are 3 mana, 1/2 creatures with Death Touch, and when they enter the battlefield, the ring tempts us, and whenever the ring tempts us, we put a +1/+1 counter on each Wrath we control, and a deck can have up to 9 cards named Nazgul, which we do. We are running 9 Nazguls. We're also playing Murmuring Mystic. I don't know how to pronounce the name. It's a 4 mana 1/5 creature that says whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, we create a 1/1 bird with flying. We're also playing Sakashima of 1,000 Faces, 4 mana 3/1. You may have Sakashima of 1,000 Faces enter the battlefield as a copy of another creature you control, except it has Sakashima of 1,000 Faces other abilities, which are the legend rule doesn't apply to permanents you control and partner. I don't know if partner is actually an ability. Yeah. We're also playing Setchmowitch, 3 mana, 3/2 menace creature with ward, pay 3 life. And with Magecraft, so whenever we cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, we create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with, when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. We're also playing Spark Double that can enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature or planeswalker we control, except it's not legendary. And it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter if it enters as a creature, or with an additional loyalty counter if it enters as a planeswalker. Then we're playing Tyrant, Sky Summoner, 4 mana, 2/2 Merfolk Wizard that creates a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying whenever we cast an instant sorcery spell. And we're playing Wonder. It's a 4 mana 2/2 that says as long as it is in our graveyard, and we are controlling an island, creatures we control have flying. Then we're playing Birth Escape, 1 mana sorcery, draw a card, the ring tempts you. This is just good if we have 1 or more Nazguls, because then we are putting +1/+1 counter on all of our Wraths. We're playing Fetus Swarm as an enchantment removal. Irenicus Wild Duplication is a 4 mana sorcery that says create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it has flying and isn't legendary if that creature is legendary. We're playing Kindred Dominance, 7 mana sorcery, choose a creature type, destroy all creatures that are not of the chosen type. Pact of the Serpent, choose a creature type, target player draws X cards and loses X life, where X is the number of creatures they control of the chosen type. Raise the Palisade, 5 mana sorcery, choose a creature type, return all creatures that are not the chosen type to their owner's hand. Replication Technique, 5 mana sorcery with Demonstrate. Demonstrate is when you cast this, you may have target opponent copy that spell, no, it says when you cast this, you may copy it. If you do, choose an opponent that also copies it. Players may choose new targets for their copies. And it says create a token that's a copy of target permanent you control. Then we're playing Sakashima's Will, 4-mana sorcery. Choose one. If you control your commander as you cast a spell, you choose both. You may choose both. Target opponent chooses a creature they control, you gain control of it. And choose a creature you control. Each other creature you control becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn. This is really good if we have a copy of our commander that is either not legendary or is ignoring the legendary rule. So yeah, legend rule. Right. Then next you get Restoration. It's a land on the backside that either enters the battlefield tapped or untapped if you pay 3 life. And on the front side it's the sorcery that has draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand plus 1. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. We're playing Stolen Identity, 6-mana sorcery, create a token that's a copy of any creature or artifact on the battlefield with Cipher, meaning when this spell resolves, we can encode it on a creature we control, and whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player, we can cast this spell without paying its mana cost. And it still stays encoded, so next turn, when we hit our opponent again, we can again cast this without paying its mana cost. Yeah, right. Then we're playing Toxic Deluge, 3 mana, pay an additional cost to cast a spell, pay X life. All creatures get -X until end of turn. This is really good if all our creatures are 9/9, because then they most probably are bigger than all the other creatures on the board. So we can pay like 5, 6, 7 life to kill everything except our creatures. You have to keep in mind though that our creatures are also that much smaller this turn. So if all of our creatures are 9/9s and our opponent's biggest creature is 5/5, we can pay 5 life, kills it, and then go to combat. But now our creatures don't deal 9 damage each, they only deal 4 damage. So yeah. Next instance, an offer you can't refuse. It's a counterspell that lets the owner of the countered spell create 2 treasure tokens. We're playing Arcane Denial, counters target spell, you draw a card at the beginning of the next upkeep. That spell's controller also draws 2 cards at the beginning of the next upkeep. Then Crackling Counterpart, 3 mana instant, create a token that's a copy of target creature you control and has flashback for 7. And counterspell, delay, counter target spell, exile it, instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard, exile it with 3 time counters. And at the beginning of its owner's upkeep, he removes the time counter, and when the last time counter is removed, he casts the spell without paying its mana cost. This counterspell is really good against other counterspells, because when you exile a counterspell with it, that gets cast in its controller's upkeep in 3 turns. It does nothing, but yeah. We're playing Elminster's Simulacrum, 6 mana instant. For each opponent, you create a token that's a copy of up to 1 target creature that player controls. This is just an instant that just on its own gives us 3 creatures, and with our commander out or other token creator, we can make like 4, 5, 6 creatures with it. And when we then turn all of them into wraiths, we already have 9 most of the time, I guess. Then Frantic Search, draw 3 mana, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards, untap up to 3 lands. Then we're playing Malachi Rebirth. It's also a card with a land side on the back side that enters the battlefield tapped. And the front side is choose target creature, and you lose 2 life, and until end of turn, that creature gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. We are playing Memory Lapse, counter target spell, put that spell on top of its owner's library instead of putting it anywhere else. We're playing Plump the Forbidden, 2 mana instant, as an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice any number of creatures, then copy that spell for each creature sacrificed this way. Says you draw a card and lose a life. This is really good when you combine it with Sedgemoor Witch. That basically means when you sacrifice 9 tokens, you create 9 new tokens, just for the copies, and also 1 for the cast. So you cast it, but before you create the token for the cast trigger from Sedgemoor Witch, you have to sacrifice the number. So basically, if you have 9 tokens on the battlefield, you can sacrifice them, Then you create 1 for the cast and 9 new ones for the copy, so you have 10 tokens now, and you lose 9 life, and you lose 10 life and draw 10 cards, because 1 for each of the copies, 9 copies, and 1 for the original. So yeah, and also if you don't have Such Witch and just want to draw cards, then this also is pretty good. Then we're playing Press the Enemy, 4 mana instant, return target spell or non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. Then you may cast an instant sorcery spell, instant or sorcery spell from your hand with mana value less or equal to the. Wait. You may cast an instant sorcery spell with equal or lesser mana value from your hand without paying its mana cost. This is basically just 2 instants or sorceries in one. So basically 2 commander triggers in one card, I guess. So yeah, pretty good. Resculpt, exile removal, zone half, destroy target creature. If that creature is destroyed this way, its controller creates 2 tokens that are copies of that creature, except their base power and toughness is half the base power of toughness of the destroyed creature, rounded up. See double, 4 mana instant, the spell can't be copied. Choose 1 if an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard as you cast. No, not as you cast it. Just as it resolves, you may choose both. And one mode is copy target spell. You may choose new targets for the copy, and the other mode is create a token that's a copy of target creature. Also, pretty good card. Playing Snuff Out, 4 mana instant. If you control a swamp, you may pay 4 life instead of paying its mana cost. Destroy target non-black creature, it can't be regenerated. Standardized, 2 mana, instant, choose a creature type other than legend or wall. Each creature's type becomes that type until end of turn. So basically we're turning all creatures on the battlefield into wraiths. And wait. Yeah, the thing is, it doesn't say in addition. So it's not like now our Sedgemoor Witch is a human warlock wraith, but it's just a wraith, I guess. Yeah. The next Sublime Epiphany, 6 mana instant, choose 1 or more. Has 5 modes. Counter target spell, counter target trigger or activate ability, counter target, not counter target. Return target non-permanent to its owner's hand. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Draw a card. Then we play Swan Song, 1 mana, counter target enchantment, instant sorcery spell. Its controller puts a 2/2 blue bird creature token with flying onto the battlefield. And Unwind, counter target non-creature spell, untap 3 lands. Up to 3. We're also playing Black Market Connection because it's creating 2/3 changeling creature tokens, which, like, changeling are wraiths, so yeah, pretty good. Then we're playing Arcane Adaptation, 3 mana. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type. No, creatures you control are the chosen type, in addition to the other types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that are not on the battlefield. Just another way to turn all our creatures into wraiths. Then we're playing Whip of Erebos, 4 mana artifact, legendary artifact enchantment. Creatures you control have lifelink, and for 4 mana, tap, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste, exile it at the beginning of the next instant. If it would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. Activate only activate this as a sorcery only. Then we're playing Wayfarer's Bauble and Thought Vessel and Talisman of Dominance, Soul Ring, Mindsplicer Apparatus. It's a flash artifact. 4 mana artifact with flash. At the beginning of our upkeep, we put an oil counter on it, and instant sorcery spells recast cost 1 less to cast for each oil counter on it. We're playing Mindstone, Midnight Clock, Maskwood Nexus. This is a 4 mana artifact that turns all our creatures into changelings. Then we're playing Lightning Greaves, Inherited Envelope, 3 mana rock that taps for any color, and when it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts us. And then we're playing Felverstone, Demon Signet, Bolas the Citadel, and Arcane Signet, and a bunch of lands. Our land base is not too expensive. It's like, as you can see, some lands cost more than €1, but there's nothing that costs more than €5. So yeah, not too expensive. The deck overall is quite expensive, I'd say. Like, most of my decks are below 200, so yeah. And And I also would say that there are cards that are not necessarily worth their price, specifically in this deck. Maybe in others they are, but not necessarily in this. Like Black Market Connection is a card that I could see being cut if you want to turn this deck into a more budget-friendly deck. The same is true for Sakashima and Toxic Deluge and yeah, that could already be it. But I mean, if we we say 14 plus 21 is 35. 40, 60. That's already 60 less, so it's like 180. If you cut these three cards and replace them with like a mana rock, a land, and a removal spell, for example. So yeah. Um, Overall, I think my deck it definitely is concentrating on instant sorceries, but not necessarily on cantrips. So it's not like my turn is like cast this, create a token, cast this, create a token, cast this, create a token, cast this, whatever. It's also not about having 10 triggers when we cast one instant and or sorcery. It's just a mix between a creature deck. I don't know if you can call this a creature deck, but right, we're playing some clone effects and we're playing a bunch of instant sorceries. Yeah, I guess like the thing our deck's is trying to do is creating a bunch of creatures, not not only wraiths, and then turning them into wraiths to make a 9/9 army of creatures that are 9/9s, or maybe even stronger if we have one or more nazguls. So yeah, I'd say this deck can definitely win the game, especially if you have a nazguls combined with Herald of Secrets, for example. So yeah, let me know what you think about this deck, and we'll see each other.